the rail, too. She's just whipping everybody. Well, Diane, she runs, to take off. She bumps into Rob, who's hanging from the wall with a gag in his mouth. I mean, she just whipped everybody. And then Angela appears behind her, and she stabs her, too. And Angela leaves the office, but then walks back in and says, "Good night, campers." This movie's so fucking cheesy, but it's, intentionally that way. So meanwhile, Molly, who just regained consciousness, she's not dead after all. She limps out of the woods, and Angela hitchhikes with a truck driver who's about to leave the campsite. And Angela getting annoyed by the woman because she's smoking and she's just being an annoying Southerner. So Angela pulls out her knife and starts attacking the woman just as they stop at a railroad crossing. So Angela, she just can't help herself at this point. Apparently, it had been a while since she killed anybody. I think at the start of the movie is when she picked up again,
Yeah.
And then she just couldn't stop herself. Well, Molly makes it to the main road, and they start walking away with the pickup truck stops behind her. And Molly, she's happy. She's going to get the fuck out of here. She walks over to the truck, and the driver is who? Angela, who says, "Howdy, partner." And Molly screams, and Angela, we would assume, kills her as well. So I guess the horror continues here because Angela's still around, still doing her thing. We get no survivors in this movie, my friend. So, Vic, I'm going to get in. I'm going to let you talk about the movie if you're still around because, you just disappear every once in a while.
I'm here. All right, so my thoughts on this movie are, man, I really do love this movie. I love the whole series, as you know, and it's well documented how much I love it. I will go ahead and say it's my favorite sequel to the series, which may be somewhat of a shock to you, but I liken it to the Game Trial series. Part 2 is not my favorite of the series as much as I love it. Same thing with this. I love it. It's not my favorite sequel, at least I don't think so. We'll talk more about that later in life. But, man, it's got some good kills. I know you said the battery acid is your favorite kill, but whenever she just threw the match on her and just burned and she's alive, that's my favorite kill because I love fire.
Yeah.
And that was good. That made me smile. That made me smile when I first saw it. It made me smile, whatever. Every time I watch it, and today when I watched it again, it made me smile. Probably the biggest smile I've had in a long time. Well, at least since last night.
Long time.
It was amazing. But I want to give it a 3 out of 4. But it's got so many nice titties and just whatever. The nice tits go from a 3 to a 3.5. Yeah, it's a 3.5 out of 4 for me because the tits are so they're stupendous, if you will. All of them.
Yeah. So you're not lying there. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so I'm going to get into some trivia, and then I'll get my thoughts on the movie. First off, the characters are actually named after actors associated with 1980s films, like mainly the members of the Brat Pack. So you've got Molly Ringwald, Sean Penn, Allie Sheedy, TC, Tom Cruise, Uncle John Hughes, Mayor Winningham, Rob Lowe, Demi Moore, Leah Thompson, Brooke Shields, Jodie Foster, Anthony Michael Hall, Judd Nelson, Charlie Sheen, Phoebe Cates, Emilio Estevez, Diane Lane. So it was all homages to 80s, I guess teen idols. This movie is actually shot back-to-back at the very same location as its sequel, Sleepaway Camp 3, Teenage Wasteland. So if it doesn't look like Angela aged very much, well, there's a reason for that, because both of these movies finished within 6 weeks. You want to talk about fucking guerrilla filmmaking, you know what I mean, Vic? You can get it done, get it wrapped up. I wish they would do more of that now with slasher movies. Get it done, man.
That'd be awesome.
The sex scene between Allie and Rob was actually with Valerie Hartman and an extra, since the actor playing Rob was only a minor during the filming. The characters... Yeah, exactly. They were trying to break all the rules. The characters Charlie and Emilio are the real-life names of Molly Nagel's brothers, Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. So, interesting. This film was shot in Waco, Georgia, at a campground formerly known to locals as Camp Waco. It's now private property, which sucks because we can't go visit it then. Most of the buildings used in the film are now gone. The restroom, abandoned cabin, and swimming pool are the only things remaining. Felissa Rose, and here's an answer to a question that was kind of kicked around at the start. Felissa Rose was asked to return as Angela Baker, and she did a reading, but didn't quite click with the comedic one-liners that Angela delivered in the sequels. She was also preparing to attend college at the time. What do you think of Pamela Springsteen, replacing Felissa Rose in this?
I thought she was awesome. I mean, yeah, she was different than Felissa Rose, but I thought
it was a different movie.
Yeah, it was, and I thought she was awesome. I mean, I thought she did great.
Yeah, she was good, man. I had no complaints about her. Just for the sake of continuity, it would have been cool if it was Felissa. But the fact that they used this chick because of the way they were doing this movie, it made sense. And she did a great job for what they were going for. So you can't fault them for that. It's almost like I wish Felissa could have just been in it for a cameo or something,
Yeah.
That would have been cool. But I like the direction they went in. Just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I like the change in direction. But I would have been happy with another balls-to-the-wall slasher. Whatever you want, man. I'm happy with whatever. But it was cool. So, it was filmed on location. Yeah. Well, it was filmed on location at a YMCA youth camp in, like I said, Waco, Georgia. It was filmed and wrapped in 1987, being released a year later. And then, here we go, Vic, and this is pretty awesome, man. I think the body count's amazing. 18. However, whether or not Molly survived is unknown. So,
That's a pretty good body count.
That's a Friday the 13th body count, my man. You know what I mean? Like, because Friday the 13th was all about the body count. That's where it had every slasher beat. That's why Jason had so many kills, because Friday the 13th was all about that. The other ones had some sort of plot to them. So, I mean, let's face it, Friday the 13th was the ultimate set 'em up, knock 'em down slasher, as far as series goes. Especially the major. Yeah, I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street was too busy with gay characters, and Texas Chainsaw was just too busy being horrific. Because it was. Like, every fucking episode of it is just fucking horrific. Even in its own way, like Texas Chainsaw Next Generation had its own. Because it was kind of like, Nick, I never thought about this. In its own way, Texas Chainsaw was kind of the start of torture porn, too.
I mean, yeah, if you really think about it.
I mean, because it wasn't just kills. You know what I mean? It was beyond that. It went beyond that. So, and it was a mix of a lot of genres. Cannibal culture, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It really started a lot of stuff, man. They don't get credit for that.
When Angela and TC are arguing over the picture, she tells them they should be sent home, and TC says, "There's no way. Uncle John would never go for that." Well, Charlie and Emilio have been coming here for years. This is a reference to Renee Estevez Molly, as her real-life brothers are Charlie and Emilio Estevez. Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. Okay, so that's it.
But the best part about that whole conversation, though, he's looking through the pictures. He's like, "Nice tits."
Yes, exactly. That's what he says right at the start. Yeah, nice tip. That's what I would have said, too. I mean, what are you going to get upset about? Anybody who gets upset about that probably is able to put a rainbow on somebody's profile by reacting. But not us.
No,
we're not allowed to do that. Yeah, exactly. We're not down with the homo culture. So,
nah.
All right, Vic. I got to get into my thoughts on this, man. I've always loved, the Sleepaway Camp series in general. I've always liked the sequels. Before I watched the movie today, I had fully expected, okay, I gave Sleepaway Camp a 4. I'm going to go in and I'm going to give this movie a 3.5. So when you're saying you're going to give it a 3, I got real nervous because guess what? I didn't go 3.5. I actually knocked it down a little bit after watching it today, slightly. I give it a 3, and I'll tell you why. I get 3 out of 4 machetes for this, and I'll tell you why. This movie's an hour and 20 minutes, but it feels a lot longer to me. I don't know why it feels longer to me. It doesn't feel like it's as fast as it should be. I think because there's a lot of friendship bullshit between Angela and this Molly chick, and it's just annoying to me. And the kills, man, they really took a step down in this movie compared to the last one. They're not bad, per se, But, like, when you look at the kills of Sleepaway Camp versus this movie, and I'm comparing it because they are in the same series, you know, and this is a slasher, even if it's a horror comedy, they're just not as good in this one. They're not as inventive. I don't know, man. There just wasn't a lot of originality in this, whereas in the last one you had the bees, you had the boiling water, you had gruesome shit. Now, the battery acid was pretty gruesome. And the fire's cool, too, but, I mean, it's not like we've never seen anybody burned alive. So, you know, that's nothing new or exciting to me. I mean, and again, I'm not giving it shit so much as I'm just saying that there were a lot of scenes where somebody's laying there dead. It just looks so fucking fake and not in a good way. You know what I mean? It looked like somebody just threw blood on them and said fucking ran along. And I guess that's what you get when you film in 6 weeks or whatever, you know, film 2 movies in 6 weeks. So a lot of that took away from the movie for me. And I realized it's supposed to be a cheesy horror comedy, and I was fine with those aspects of it. But, you know, like the horror comedy at times, well, most of the time it wasn't even funny. So that's a problem. Okay, I mean, it's like, and I don't mean to compare this because these are not on the same level whatsoever, but like Jason X. Jason X is a horror comedy or sci-fi horror comedy, but it's shitty, and there's no funny horror, you know, it's not funny. And this isn't really that funny either, except in our own weird ways, you know, and I don't even know that it's meant to be funny at those times. So, I don't know, it's like it's a horror comedy, but it's not a very funny horror comedy, except for some random shit that we think's funny because we're twisted fucks. But Angela Springsteen does a good job, especially as the character that she's playing here. She's not dark, sadistic Angela. She's like fucking whacked in the head, happy-go-lucky. I talk now, and I probably talk too fucking much, you know, Angela. She's just a different person than she was in the first one. And you know, it's all about character development, all that. It's funny when you watch the movie over and over again like I have, you start to think about things like this, okay? Is it just me? Or does Angela seem like she's into chicks in this movie? Am I wrong or right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, it's clear she has a thing for Molly, right? And she was blowing off TC, so she doesn't seem to have a thing for dudes. She has a thing for chicks. Which makes sense because she was a dude. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously.
But the confusing part is this. In Sleepaway Camp, she was trying to get with Peter or whatever his name, not Peter, Paul, or whatever the dude's name is, you know, before he saw her cock. So she goes from liking dudes to liking chicks as a chick. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of an odd. It's odd. I don't know what to think of that. You know, maybe it's just because it doesn't make sense to me in general not to like vagina. So I don't know. But I don't know, man. So you are right. The tits are amazing. The kills, though, there's so many of them, but they're just like, throwaway. You know, we get a lot of bodies, but not so much kills a lot of the time. Like, okay, we get the burned skeleton, but we didn't actually get to see it. And yeah, we got to see the next chick get burned. But it would have been awesome if it would have went along a little longer, just to be fucking nasty, you know? Or the leeches. A lot of it was implied, you know? And yeah, it's horrific, but it wasn't that, you know, grotesque like it could have been. Dude gets beheaded. That's fine. We've seen that a million times. It's just like, I don't know. Again, this is a horror comedy and not so much a balls-to-the-wall slasher like the first one. So we get a difference there. So the kills to me drop. But I tell you what, Vic, I agree with you about the tits. I don't know if they're better than the last one. I think they are. I can't really remember real well. But I know this much.
I think, yeah.
In this one, yeah, in the first one, we got Judy, who never showed her fucking tits, but they were huge, and we wanted to see them, but we never got to fucking see them, as far as I know.
We did.
So the bully chick, yeah, we did in this one immediately. They didn't waste any time with that. So, director, I appreciate your work, sir. It was very nice of you. It was good of you to give that to us. I mean, because we got multiple sets of them.
See, I think that going into the movie, he knew it wasn't going to be as good as the original because, I mean, how could it be? So
right.
They had to jump straight out the gate with probably the nicest set of the movie, obviously. But then they just kept on throwing more and more into it. It really went with the like Friday the 13th sex aspect of the whole slasher genre, and they went full force with it.
Yeah. So I want to make it clear that I'm not knocking off, you know, a whole machete because it's a horror comedy, because clearly that doesn't bother me at all. didn't think it was that funny of a horror comedy, and the horror aspect of it was almost non-existent. It was so much of a comedy